Guess who's back? It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Scabarna and the Douche talk masters of the universe. The Legends of Grayskull podcast.
Legends of Grayskull is a fan podcast exploring the vast worlds of He-Man and She-Ra. Join Sean Scabarna and Matthew Douche as they discuss the history and mystery of Eternia and Etheria, diving deep into all incarnations of Masters of the Universe.
Hey, you know who's back? It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Now that you know, let's go. Get ready for the show. It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to L.O.G on MYP. I am Matthew Duch here with Curtis Ackerman. This is the fan mini-series where we break down the 2002 He-Man and the Master Universe MYP cartoon series episode by episode, giving you our thoughts, our likes, our dislikes, and eventually our Power Sword ranking. I'm Curtis. How's it feel to be back? It's been a minute.
It's literally been a minute.
Literally. So we're recording these two episodes back to back. Hopefully we won't kind of retread territory too much. That's our hope. It seems whenever you separate these two-part episodes, you kind of get that like we're reminding ourselves of what we already said. So hopefully this
they actually start off with a recap at the beginning, which is kind of a newer type thing. We don't get that typically. So yeah, they give a recap of the last episode before they get into it.
Because for our younger audience that is listening, back in the day, if you missed an episode, you just missed the episode. It wasn't streaming the next morning where you could then catch up. So for some, I mean, by this point, you know, I'm already in high school. Curtis is already post-college, 6 kids, 2 wives. So, but
maybe not that many yet.
One of those numbers was inaccurate.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was able to catch it, but definitely when I was a younger kid, like sometimes these previously ons were the only way you knew what happened. Like you couldn't always catch each, G.I. Joe did a lot of, 5-parters. Thundercats did it. So if you just missed an episode, these previously ons were very important to you. Nowadays, I just fast forward through them because I just watched the episode a second before it. But so let's start with the important details, as we always do. So this is Council of Evil Part 2, written by Dean Stefan, directed by Gary Hartel, and story edited by Dean Stefan. The final draft date was September 9th of 2002, and it originally aired on October 11th, 2003 in the U.S. Again, back in Canada, they got it on May 17th of 2003. So, whopping 5 months earlier. And the Cartoon Network episode description: it is up to Adam to stop the forces of evil that plague Eternia, but he must do so without his power sword.
Well, that kind of steals some of the thunder of the episode.
It kind of does, but also doesn't, because that's actually a very minor point. Like,
well, I mean, last we saw He-Man, he was riding into battle on Battle Cat with his power sword.
Well, so, and that's what I mean. So, and as we'll see, the losing the power sword comes so late in the episode. Like, if anything, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the episode yet, like if anything, that's a better description for season 2, episode 1, The Last Stand, to me, than it really is this episode.
Yeah, I just feel like it kind of, I would have probably said something like, the masters have been captured and He-Man alone has to try to save them or something, something that is kind of setting it up, but not giving away anything. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't see that before I watched this.
I mean, it's not the word, but I agree. It could have done just the first sentence and change Adam to He-Man, because we do see He-Man in this episode. It's up to He-Man to stop the forces of evil that plague Eternia. Like, especially with it being a two-parter that hasn't aired, like that is a vague enough description. It still doesn't give away who the council actually is, so I can agree there. But it's not the worst spoilery episode description that they've released. So yeah, this one starts off previously on, and we're caught to a quick catch up of the previous episode, and then we continue again watching He-Man ride on Battle Cat for 27 minutes. So
yeah, we start off with the Masters are all locked up with the exception of Mechanic, Adam, and Tila, which they mention. And Ram Man initially is hopeful that Mechanic, got away, to which Man at Arms replies, well, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he,
Hey, he goes, maybe he tried, and
and
everyone gets really somber looking, and that's what I was talking about. Like, okay, we're writing now, like
but I love the way that they have that discussion, because it feels like in their minds. And obviously we know Man at Arms knows the He-Man secret and stuff, but in their minds, they're like, Mechanic's the last hope that we have out of those three. Like Tila, we're not Tila and Adam, but maybe Mechanic, maybe he, no, so.
Yeah. Well, it's again, that pragmatic Man at Arms that I would love to have hope right now, Ram Man, but more than likely he didn't make it. I can't, and it's that like we said, straightforward thinking, general mentality. Like, I can't assume that we have an asset. I've got to assume that he's off the board.
Well, especially since it's Mechanic, right? The only thing we've had him do throughout the whole series is stretch his neck to go up a mountain and into a cave.
Yeah.
So
I would have liked here, and I get that they're like, Tila, Adam, Mechanic. I don't like that nobody brings up He-Man in this circumstance.
Nobody's wondering where the heck is He-Man.
Right. Yeah. And it could have been a nice bit of an exchange here if Ram Man was like, well, He-Man too, and someone's like, yeah, but we never know how to find him. He just shows up. And like doing it that way, where again, Man Arms can kind of be the he knows what's going on, but he can throw it out there like, well, hopefully,
maybe one of those three that aren't in here with us can contact He-Man. That would have been a nice little line or something. Yeah,
it doesn't make sense for nobody to bring up He-Man when he's been their most valuable asset, and it could have been a nice discussion on how He-Man just appears, like no one knows where he comes from or anything, So on the way to Snake Mountain, He-Man stumbles upon Mechanic bound by vines, trying to tell him something. As He-Man goes to rescue him, he is ambushed by three giants.
This is so classic, like TV, right?
For sure.
Yeah, somebody's tied up and they're gagged, and they know it's a trap, but the other person doesn't know it's a trap, and they're trying to communicate him that it's a trap, but they can't.
It's a trap.
Yeah,
it's a trap.
Yeah.
What you say? It's a rap?
Yeah.
You bought me. You're wrapping a present? What?
So, but yeah, he falls right for it, and the first thing that happens is the giants jump out and they start attacking He-Man. And when I see that, my thought process is like, I get you divided the rest of the Masters, and then you sent this council of evil in different directions to attack them. But now at this point, when He-Man's the only one left that you're really worried about, why are the giants attacking him by themselves, right? But then, I always watch this a couple times. I'll watch once just to kind of see how much I enjoy the episode, and then I watch another time to take notes. And as I was watching it the second time, I kind of feel like this was a very strategic approach, right? Like you send the big guys at him to beat him up a little bit, wear him down.
Yep.
Then you send in Evil Seed to kind of try to restrain him.
Yep.
Then you send in Marzo to put in the finishing blow. The only thing that doesn't make sense to me is that Skeletor is not there. Like, I would think that this is such a big piece on the board that Skeletor would want to be there, just the same way that he was in the last episode, that he was the one that personally went after Man-at-Arms, right? Mm-hmm. So I do feel like he should have been there. But the way that this fight goes down with the Giants and then Evil Seed and then Marzo, I feel like it was constructed very well to, kind of lock He-Man down.
Yep.
So
yeah, no, and it's believable. It's not too long either. Like, that's
no.
I never got bored with it. It makes sense. He-Man's got some victories, and then even when Evil Seed initially has him on the ground and he's like mocking him about how he's not, human flesh isn't strong enough, and He-Man is just like up and not. The vines are still on the ground, but he's just stretching them, and he's gonna get the Evil Seed, and then Marzo comes in for the final blow. Like you said, it's a very well thought out plan. It makes sense. It doesn't feel like
I would have. So one of the problems that I have with this though is, like, after they're done, they just leave him there, right?
I thought about that,
and I think the only thing that I think I would have been okay with them leaving there is if Webstore was also there, and on top of the vines, if Webstore kind of like, covered him with webs or something and locked him down to where, like, they felt like, hey, between the vines and the webbing, like, this dude can't move. We're safe to just kind of leave him here or whatever. But just leaving him with the vines, which he just almost broke out of before Marzo shot him. Well, I don't know. Just feels like a plot hole.
They do show that the vines change color and are imbued with Marzo's magic, so they're not just vines anymore, because they go from brown to purple.
Gotcha. I still would have felt better if Webster was there. Just throw, I mean, that's like he's the last one on the Council of Evil that we haven't seen in this fight, right?
Right. He didn't.
So yeah. So if he's there, then it's like, okay, you sent the entire council after him. They each did what they do. Yeah. And then I would feel a little bit better, but it's still a great fight scene. I thought it was well constructed. If it was a good, like, 1, 2, 3 punch.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and even Battle Cat gets into it. He gets taken. He fights hard. He doesn't get knocked out, but he gets taken down.
Imagine that Battle Cat got taken out.
He's not knocked out though. He's conscious.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a win.
Yeah.
And the only thing I thought of, in addition to what you're saying, is I think the idea was, Marzo, not only does he blast He-Man down, but he imbues the vines with magic too. And I think the idea is we've stopped He-Man, we've restrained him, he's not going anywhere. It's more of a liability to try and move him now than it is to just leave him here. But we still got to get on with our plan. We got to get Grayskull. But if we try and move him to the dungeon, that's just giving him an opportunity.
Well, you're also then partnering him up with his friends, right? So and initially that was my, like, why are they not taking him to the dungeon with everybody else? And then I'm like, why would you want to bring him to his friends? Like, then there's more of a chance of them kind of coming up with some sort of plan or whatever. Like, yeah, I'm fine with them leaving him there. I just think that one little extra touch of some Webster webbing would have been great. But yeah, I think, after watching it a couple times and thinking through it, like, I wouldn't want to send him in there with, like, you now combine He-Man's strength with Man-at-Arms' brain, and I'm sure they can come up with something. So yeah, leave him by himself.
Leave him there. We know where he is. We'll deal with him.
I would at least think that Skeletor would want to be there to gloat. Like, even if he's not participating, like, even if he doesn't feel like he's needed physically, like, I would think that he would want to be there to gloat.
Yeah.
But
I can agree. We're joined up back in dungeon. Man-at-Arms is splicing Robato's wires to create a makeshift communication device. he manages to get a brief message off to Tila before Skeletor spots him and melts all of Roboto's wires, which luckily didn't actually do any damage to like his arm doesn't work now or something. So,
so at this point, then Skeletor says, and this is the biggest problem I have with not only this episode but this whole 2-part series. Skeletor brags and says that the only reason he's keeping the Masters alive is to see the fall of Grayskull.
Yep.
So here's my problem. Until this point, I have not considered the fact that they may actually kill these folks, right? Like, it's a cartoon series. Typically, we don't see anybody get murdered, right? So it's not even in my head that you like are okay with killing somebody, okay? But as soon as he says that, I'm like, okay, well, that's really freaking stupid, right? Like, you've got these guys restrained. You feel like, you know, they were the threat. You've got them restrained. You've now got He-Man restrained, and you're going to leave every one of them alive to see the fall of Grayskull so that you can gloat. Like to me, if you're okay with killing, kill it. Like you know, just do it. It's like I'm reminded of Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where the ugly guy says, if you're gonna shoot, don't talk, right?
Right.
So if you're gonna kill them, don't talk about when you're going to kill them. And so I just felt like this whole line could have been tossed. Like, if he just said, I can't wait for you to see me take over Grayskull, or the look on your face is going to be priceless when I take over Grayskull. You achieve the same thing without that, you know, hey, the only reason I'm not killing you. I just felt like that adds a layer to this that shows that Skeletor is capable of murdering, but now he's just not because, you know, character flaw. So,
but I mean that does end up being one of the flaws in his plan. So
right, but I think you could get that flaw of the overconfidence with the I can't wait to see your look on your face when I do this, without bringing up killing at all. Like, I just don't think that you talk about killing if you're not prepared to actually have him kill anybody.
But see,
if he did it, like he walks in and he sees that Man-at-Arms is wiring up Roboto and stuff. If he flat out murders Roboto right there, right, just destroys him to oblivion, and Roboto's no more, and now he's like, just wait till I do that to the rest of you, but I want to see the look on your face first. Then I'm okay, because you actually killed somebody, right? Like, you've actually done it, and that raises the stakes. But if you're not going to kill anybody, don't talk about killing people.
I like it in the sense that they're constrained by the Y7 rating that they have to shoot for. But
you think that would violate it by destroying a robot?
Maybe not, but I'm just saying. So for me, what that writing does is it's saying, we get that this is a show aimed at children. But by now, especially, we've realized that there's a group of you fans that grew up with this in the 80s that are following this series. And you're going to have these questions. You're going to be sitting here going, Skeletor, this is dumb. Why are we locking everybody up? Yeah. So to me, it does show that, like, Skeletor's ultimate plan is, like, he's not going to feed you for 30 years to life. Like, no, I just feel like it's a half measure. I feel like you either don't even broach the subject of killing, or you show that he's, I mean, you look at like what Kevin Smith did in those series. Like, he wasn't afraid. Now, you could argue that some of the people that he took out, he did it in a less than favorable way that made him look weak and all this and that. But there were definitely stakes, right? And I think that if you're going to do that, if you're going to throw that bone out to the more mature audience, take out a Roboto. You know, take him out and then do it. But if you're not going to go to that level, then just don't go to that level. Don't you know? I don't know. It just feels like a half measure to me. And it definitely is. But I at least appreciated it where it's like, okay, this Skeletor isn't that dumb to just leave them alive indefinitely, because he knows eventually they'll get out. But like him saying, like,
I know Skeletor's all talk.
I think it's more, again, he's caught up. He's imagining this future where he's captured all the, like, he still doesn't have the king and queen either at this point. But he's trying to get to Grayskull before he loses, because he's still acting on the element of surprise.
Yeah.
Like, He-Man's heading towards Snake Mountain. At this point, He-Man doesn't even know exactly what's going down. Who Skeletor has. He doesn't know until he's ambushed who Skeletor has on his side. He doesn't know that everyone's locked up there. Teela knows that. But he doesn't. And Teela doesn't know about the council. So Skeletor's operating. He's still got them behind the 8 ball. No one's caught up completely. And Skeletor has to move forward to Grayskull. And I think he's envisioning this future where he's got the king and queen. He's got Grayskull. He's set himself up, 87 movie style, master of the castle, projecting to all of Eternia. And he's envisioning this future where he can execute them one by one. And that's kind of what just a simple line does in my head. But for the 7-year-old that's watching it, it's not too graphic. You don't have to deal with the loss of a beloved character like we went through in Revelation, which again, that's kind of unfair because that was aimed primarily at adults,
But I guess my retort, and then I think after that we'll probably just have to move on because I don't think we're going to agree. But I think my retort would be, if you kill Roboto, he's a robot, right? Like, Man-at-Arms could possibly rebuild him.
Sure.
So I feel like it's an easy way to show that you're serious, show that you're going to take them out without having that, final, like, this is final, right? Yeah. This is like, this guy's never coming back. So I just feel like that would have been a way to really show that you're serious here. And in this way, it just doesn't feel like that. It feels like you're a joke. Like, oh, well, you just wait. I'm going to be serious later on, but right now I'm not doing anything. So
I completely agree with you that I even said it in my thing, like somehow magically melting all those wires does nothing to Roboto actual programming or anything. So absolutely, that would be better. But I'm just saying, I can see why in 2002 they weren't willing to go there. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. I think it would have been better with that. Well, I'll just say that.
No, and I agree. It would have been better that way. Yeah. They do throw Mechanic down into the dungeon with the other masters. Mechanic informs them.
They don't restrain him, though.
They don't show it, but
yeah, the other ones are all chained up, but they just kind of toss him in there.
And you kind of
maybe because he's the last one, like at this, I don't know.
I believe later we'll see him restrained, but for right now, he's just.
Well, and the other thing is,
you also wish that they would have done something to
restrain his neck.
Yeah, restrain his neck, like how Man-at-Arms restrained Evelyn's hands.
Right, and maybe that's once again, it could just be that Skeletor's in a hurry. He doesn't have to do it. Could be the overconfidence that he doesn't think Mechanic's a threat. Like Mechanic's really just kind of a joke character. Like he's this kind of observant spy kind of character. And what good is that doing inside of a prison cell? Right. We've captured the last master. It's time to move on with our plan. Just throw him in there and let's move on. So, I could totally see that just being, like you're saying, like he's trying to take advantage of the moment of surprise and I don't have time to worry about, like, all the other evil council besides him and Webstore are out there finishing off He-Man or restraining He-Man. It's just him and Webstore. They throw in Mechanic and then they're like, okay, let's get moving on to the next phase.
I believe what it'll end up being is they just didn't animate showing him getting chained up.
Yeah.
What's interesting too is the fact that I do love these scenes inside Snake Mountain. We didn't go over it, but the new dungeon with the snake heads and the chains coming out of them. And then you've got they very explicitly emphasize that it has the trapdoor gate that drops into the dungeon.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if at this time, and I've never seen any evidence of it, but I'm wondering if Mattel was working on a Snake Mountain playset, and like that was going to be an action feature, very reminiscent to the vintage Snake Mountain with the trap door and you fall into the net. But that, I think that's kind of what messes it up, is the fact that they're above the dungeon swing, the trap door swings down and Mechanex's thrown in. So then it's like a logistic, like, okay, but then someone's in there to chain him up, or so I think they just kind of don't animate that at all. But even if they weren't working on a playset, that's obviously a nice callback to the vintage playset, if nothing else.
Yeah, we really didn't talk about it during the last episode, but you got to keep in mind as we're going through this, that they're trying to sell toys, right? So there's going to be some of this stuff where, they're trying to tie that into the toy line as well.
For sure.
Which I don't know. Did they make an Evil Seed? They definitely didn't make the Giants.
No, they
Evil
didn't.
Seed, Marzo.
They didn't make anybody that wasn't a vintage toy.
Gotcha. And Webster, did they make Webster? I know they did it.
Didn't
they do a Staction? Yeah. So but none of the Council of Evil, like they're doing this whole thing and not selling any of those figures as toys or characters as toys.
Never got
That's crazy.
Yep.
Okay. Marzo's back now. He reveals he's got the Ram Stone and that he got it from the Faceless one.
So again, that means Skeletor knew that Evil Lyn took it back.
Yeah.
At the end of that episode. So very, very observant Skeletor, even when we thought he wasn't.
I do think it's just kind of a throwaway there, though, that the Faceless one basically just gave it up, right? And like didn't question what's going on, didn't
No, he says he fought him for it.
Right, but like he didn't like try to go after, like, see what's going on with Evil Lyn. You know what I'm saying? Like Evil, like there's a connection there, right? Between the Faceless one and Evil Lyn. And I mean, maybe that'll come into play later on. I don't know, but like you would think that like he would be kind of like, well, what's going on? Like I don't know.
I've always taken it as he can't leave Silesia.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That makes
he didn't come after it when Evil Lyn stole it too. He didn't come after it, which you could have written that off as, well, he's not going to chase his daughter down. But I can't remember offhand if it's actually canon or not. But if nothing else, I've always taken it as he's bound to Silesia now.
Gotcha. I thought that Marzo said that he just gave it up. He said he wouldn't
give it up without a fight. A fight he lost. So Marzo's saying he bested him.
Gotcha.
Which I would have liked to see that, but time constraints.
And then Skeletor also admits again to letting the Evil Warriors get locked up, which just so happens the Snake people are kind of around the corner and they overhear this. I like this little tidbit of information.
Cobra Khan and Rattler making a surprise appearance. Definitely first time I saw it, I did not see that coming at all. I'm like,
and this is kind of that moment, and we talked about it a little bit in the last episode where I was talking about Skeletor's managerial skills. The fact that he let the Evil Warriors get captured and hatch this plan. Okay, even if you're going to do that, even if you're like, I'm going to sacrifice these guys in order to hatch this plan, at this point, I don't know why you're not sending somebody to release them so that now you have an even more incredible force going after Grayskull. Like it sacrificing them, while I don't agree with it, I understand it. But now that you know that the place is undefended, right? Other than possibly a couple kids, why aren't you sending somebody to go and get those folks out? That confuses me a bit. But maybe he's just so focused on his goal that he's like, I don't even like they're an afterthought. Like I don't need them at this point. I've taken everybody off the board. What do I need them for?
If anything, it's more of a liability to now because he wants Grayskull right now. I got to get Grayskull now while the Masters are off the board.
Yeah.
If I go to the palace, okay, maybe there's only a few people. Maybe I can get them out. But I'm not going to get them out without setting off alarms, which means the king and queen are going to be alerted, which means, and we've still got Avion. We got the Kulatuks. We got the Andrenids. Like, just because the masters are off the boards, there's still other army, the Caligars, the Spalians. Like, if Randor raises the cry, there won't be the masters, but there will be armies.
So I guess what I'm saying is, storyline wise, I get why he doesn't go after them. It makes sense based on his character, based on his goals.
Yes.
But it's also his flaw that I think is going to come back to bite him, that these people that have been loyal to him, he's just, kind of leaving hang out there while he goes and gets what he really wants. So,
and I do think eventually, like, he has plans to bring them back into the fold.
Sure, just like he has plans on killing the masters. I'm sure he'll get to it eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll happen.
All of eternity as his. Like,
yeah. There you go.
I did misspoke earlier. It was Orko that got the call from Man at Arms, because
he was trying to contact Tila, but Tila wasn't there. He contacted Orko, and Orko relayed the message.
Kind of.
Yeah.
We did have the moment of they tried to do the little tension relief with the Orko answering the call. Who is this? Orko. No, I'm Orko.
I'm Orko. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, okay. The kids can laugh still. It's fine. Everything's fine. Orko's funny and dumb. We're good. Everything's fine here. And he does relay the message to Tila, and that's it. Tila's like, okay, Adam's MIA. I still haven't heard from, He-Man hasn't shown up. Everybody's in Snake Mountain. Forget these prisoners. I gotta get going. So.
Yeah, and without any plan or allies or anything, she's just gonna hop in a vehicle and take off and hope for the best. So,
Tila's way. But I'm good. I'm good with reckless Tila, because she's still
I am
not
too. I'm like,
Tila.
we saw earlier on. She was the one that was like, "Hey, we're leaving ourselves shorthanded." So, she's thought about this, but at this point, it's like, "Hey, it's down to just me." Right. Like, what am I going to do? Sit around here and talk through a plan by myself? Like, I could think through a plan as I go anyway. I don't have anybody else to rely on. Yep. I got to get going. So I get it. It's. I don't know that it's necessarily smart, but I get it. So.
We join back up with He-Man as he's taking a nap in his nice little.
Well, is
bonds here?
Don't we see the folks in the dungeon now, or is that after this? I think we see the folks dungeon? Because Whiplash is kind of.
Oh I forgot about that.
He's clanking his tail on the bars, and then Evelyn's like, "Well, why don't you put that to good use?" To which he says, "Well, why didn't I think of that?" She says, "Because you're stupid," which is just
I figured you would enjoy that. So, she doesn't even mince words. He's like,
and then he tries to use his tail to take out the controls, and he gets shot. And I believe that she knew that would happen. I believe that she was irritated with him clanking his tail on the bars, and instructed him to use his tail to try to take out the controls just so he would get shot, because she was irritated with him, because it's so Evelyn. And then Beastman says that, you just wait, because he's gonna call some of his boys. He calls them his boys. He's gonna call some of his boys to come save them. So.
I love it. Yeah. So again, and you get with Evelyn again, like we said, like she's putting the pieces together. The longer this takes,
she's just mad.
Sit there.
She's pissed at this point.
She's stewing and she's thinking, and it's
like she's even mad at the other folks that are in the jail with her.
Right. Like, I think especially because I'm sure like Beastman's like, oh yeah, don't worry, Skeletor's coming, Whiplash, and so it just kind of.
And she's like the only smart one out of that group, right? Like, she's surrounded by a bunch of idiots. It's kind of like when I'm on Offworld, right?
Sure.
Surrounded by a bunch of idiots, and I'm just trying to keep my sanity and trying not to lose my shit. And that's where she's at right now. So.
Absolutely. Now we join up with He-Man as he's taking his power nap. Sorceress gets on his butt. Come on, dude, we need you.
She reminds him that he also is Adam.
Right.
Oh yeah. Forgot.
Right, he's sitting there struggling. And
yeah, because his muscles are so big and they're tied down with these vines.
Right.
And he can't get out because his arms are too big.
Right.
Like,
he can't break the magical imbued vines.
Yeah.
So,
hey, buddy, remember you're also Adam.
Maybe Prince Adam can.
Yeah. So he turns into Adam, shrinks down enough that he can just climb out of the vines and then just turn right back into He-Man, right?
Right. So, and we get the classic filmation, let the power return, and we see him do the first and I believe only willing detransformation of the series. But it was fun watching them. I love the scene. I will say it did bother me this time that the sorceress is the one who was like, maybe Prince Adam can help. It's like, I think you could have just had him struggling and then go, wait a minute, and then just done it on his own.
Right. Yeah, because I like the idea, like it feels like the vines at this point, like they're not continuing to add pressure, right? Like I feel like they've solidified it.
Right. When Marzo blasted them, they solidified around him.
Right. So now they're not going anywhere. So it's not like if you shrink down, they're gonna, they're gonna get smaller with you. They're gonna stay where they're at. So yeah, I just, I think he could have come to that conclusion without Sorceress's involvement.
Exactly. So. But I love the scene. Watch him transform back, and then he shrinks down. Like you said, like it's still formed to He-Man's body, and you really see the difference between Adam and He-Man and Battle Cat and Cringer as they just kind of like and come out,
wiggle out, and then immediately try to transform because you need He-Man.
Well, yeah, I mean, but by the power of.
Teela.
And Teela rides in the scene. Adam, no. And you knew it was coming because, with the transformation scene, you would have been into the background by then, normally. That's the only thing I hate about this. It's like you always know when it's going to get interrupted because it doesn't go into it. But
and then, Adam tells her like, hey, I still need to find He-Man. Right. And she says, there's no time for He-Man.
Right.
No time.
I love the Adam frustration too. He's sitting there with the sword. And so Adam is like, Teela.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
And this is the problem. Like her flying off by herself, I didn't have a problem with because at that point she thinks she's the only one left, right? So like, what's she gonna do? But as soon as she finds Adam, and Adam tells her that he hasn't yet contacted He-Man, like he still needs to do that. Like at this point, she should go, oh crap, He-Man's still available. Like, yes, we should try to find him. We should all get together. But instead, she's like, no, we're taking off. We're just going to go straight into the danger. The two of us kids, Orko, you're a very responsible person. Obviously, you've proven yourself as super responsible. You find He-Man while we take off.
I guess she does send Orko to find He-Man. I was going to say. To her, I mean, there's a chance He-Man's in the dungeon, right?
It could be.
It's not like Man-at-Arms listed off like it's me, Roboto. Like he didn't roll call. He said we're all locked up in Skeletor's dungeon. Adam says he can't find He-Man, or he hasn't been able to find He-Man. So the Teela, I can see her going like, is He-Man even an option? Did they take He-Man off the board first? Like, is he in the dungeon with everybody else? And I guess if you're like, okay, I'm going to go to Snake Mountain and try and free them. See, I have a choice at Orko or Adam to go with me. And the other one go find He-Man.
Here's what I'll offer a little rewrite here. I think if Teela said, we've got to get to Grayskull to consult with the sorceress, I'm good. Right? Like now she's actually going to another person for help, a very powerful person that may be able to offer her some other insight or give her some help or some assistance, whatever. The fact that knowing that all the masters have been captured at this point and they're held in this dungeon and that, Skeletor somehow is figured out a way to neutralize the masters who have all these powers. The fact that she's willing to just ride right into Snake Mountain with her and Adam alone is just dumb. Like it's not even bravery. It's just reckless. So if she says, "Hey, we got to get to Grayskull," I'm good. But the fact that she's going to Snake Mountain, I'm like, this is kind of stupid. So
not the best plan, but I get where she's coming from. Like we need help. Skeletor's up to something big. He's got the Masters. We need help. Yeah. There's a chance He-Man's still out there. Am I gonna? I can pick either Adam or Orko to come with me, and the other find He-Man.
And she doesn't know about the Council of Evil at this point. Like obviously, Adam being He-Man knows at least of 3 of them, right? Because he fought 3 of them. So he doesn't know that they're
5 technically, because you got 3 giants.
Marzo
and Evil Seed.
Yeah. So he knows of those. I don't know that he knows that they're working for Skeletor. There was not a whole lot of dialogue within there, and Skeletor wasn't there to brag and everything. So I don't know that even He-Man really knows what's going on. He just got attacked by a bunch of folks that don't make sense that they're working together.
Everyone's still like catching up to Skeletor.
Yeah.
So, and this is why Skeletor
he's very much a few steps ahead of everybody.
Right. So, and actually, so in this next part here, this is why it just occurred to me. I know you were complaining earlier because you wanted Webstor to be with them in the initial He-Man takedown, but now we find that Webstor is like the last line of defense. So he kept Webstor back intentionally in case somebody made it through. One of the remaining few. Because now they go to Snake Mountain. The giants try and get them, but they make it into the cave, and it's Webstor who ends up doing the sneak attack on them. And that wouldn't have worked as well if Webstor had already fought He-Man. You know what I mean? So again, Skeletor's still planning, and he's still not even willing to give himself up. Like
before that, and I don't know if this before the giants go and attack Adam and Teela, they did. They had gone up to Skeletor and told him that his steeds are ready. And then that's when the Doomseeker showed Skeletor that Adam and Teela were out there, which Skeletor makes he calls them like insects or something, right? Like he's just like, they're whatever. To which, Webster hears that and he's like, oh, insects.
Yummy.
sounds like a job for me. Yeah. So yeah, the giants and Webster go after Adam and Teela. Skeletor does not seem worried about it at all, but apparently his steeds are ready. So, yeah.
The Griffins.
So I wanted to just throw that out there. Okay.
And then we get a fabulous scene in the caverns. Teela crash lands in the cave just to escape the giants. Adam asks her what the plan is, and she's like, "Yeah, crash land in the cave. That was the plan. Like we are in it, dude. Good plan. I've got nothing." And Adam realizes the only responsible thing to do here is to tell Teela the truth.
Yeah, so this is the moment that it's going to happen. We've been waiting. The secret it's caused nothing but problems. And at this point, it's time to get rid of the secret. Like, she's one of my most trusted friends. Right. There's no reason not to tell her at this point because we need He-Man.
We need He-Man. And I cannot, all the chips are down. Everything's screwed. I cannot get away at this moment, and there's no excuse I can come up with to justify me running off right now. So, Teela, I have something to tell you. And we cut to a commercial break. Now, you didn't even have the you were watching on DVD. So while it cut to a commercial break, it came back a millisecond later. I actually had to sit through that commercial break going, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, they're gonna tell her finally.
They're gonna tell her.
They should have done it a while ago, but now it's definitely the time.
And now again, this is 2003 here, so we didn't have Revelation, we didn't have any of this stuff that's come since. So this is like the first time.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like what is it? Superman 2, where he's getting ready to tell Lois, like he's getting ready to tell her, like, hey, I'm Superman, you know. Yes. So this is that moment.
I'm both excited and I'm nervous. I'm not sure, you know, to this day, I'm not sure how much I like to live in a post-secret revealed Masters of the Universe world. I struggle with it. I know I like the secret identity a lot more than a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. So this whole commercial break, I'm like, yay, but maybe nay, but like, what is going to happen?
I think that I would be okay either way, secret or not secret, from like the general public. I don't know that there's ever been a reason to not tell the people closest to them, you know? So Tila, especially, like, she's captain of the guard. She's his best friend. Like, there's no reason why she should have been kept out of the loop, in my opinion. So yeah, it's about time.
I guess my big thing is, you know, when you look at it in this continuity, at least it is at the end of season 1.
Mm.
But like a lot of times, you know, they'll start like the comic series or even Revelation. It's like we start there and we go from there, and you don't really have that build up. So for me, the big thing is if I get my time with the secret identity, with him trying to keep his lives separate, and then down the road the secret is revealed, I'm good there.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more about timing. I feel
like this timing's right. I feel like we've seen enough growth in the character and this and that. And I mean, heck, if you're going to trust one teenager to keep the secret, why not trust 2?
Yep.
So
we come back from commercial break as we see Adam restart his sentence. Tila, I've got something to tell. And this time, Webstor's web comes down, snatches the sword out of his hand, interrupting his big reveal moment.
Because he definitely can't tell it in front of Webstor, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it kind of completely reveal blocks him. So,
well, but at that point, I mean, he grabs Webstor, takes a sword up into the air, and then Webstor's coming down to attack him. So it's not like we have time to talk now.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, like, there's, even had he not taken the sword, like, even if you just Webstor revealed himself or started attacking that, like, you can't tell the secret at this point because you know, there's not time to talk. There's obviously somebody else around that you don't want knowing the secret. So I think the taking of the sword isn't the problem. It's just the introduction of Webstor in general that's the problem at this point. So
then Webstor grabs Tila and takes her off.
She just swoops away. She's just gone. Like,
she's
like way up. Like
gone. So, Adam goes to grab the sword. It's too high up for him to reach it even with jumping. So he grabs a nearby stick, knocks the sword off the webs, unfortunately into a crevice down below.
Which apparently leads right near Man-at-Arms because he sees the sword dropping by. Like, what amazing coincidence that is, that the crack in the cave that they just happened to crash land into, there's a hole in the cave that leads directly down in front of Man-at-Arms to where he can see the fact that Adam does not have his sword.
Right.
And only Man-at-Arms too, right? Like, he's the only one that seems to notice that it's Adam's sword, and he knows the significance of that sword. So,
well, and because it is a crack in the dungeon wall that Man-at-Arms is looking through.
Correct.
So it's not like it's just, so you'd have to be in that position, in that chained spot too.
So just to make sure we understand the coincident nature of this.
Right.
You've got a cave that he just happened to crash land into. Apparently there was other caves, and they because the Giants even said they're in one of these caves. Right. So they crash land into a very specific cave.
Yes.
They get attacked by Webstor. Sword falls through a crack.
Yes.
Ending up in a place where only Man-at-Arms can see it because he happens to be viewing an area that is showing the exact spot that the sword falls.
Correct.
And he's the only one that sees it. That's
all correct. Yes.
Amazing coincidence.
And the disheartening, you know, that you see on Man-at-Arms' face when he's
because like the only hope that he had left was He-Man. And now it's just Adam.
Right. Yeah. And he knows it's Adam because it is, again, having the two versions of the power sword helps here. Because Man-at-Arms sees that it's the smaller, untransformed sword. So he knows he's Adam. You know, if this was Filmation, that power sword coming down the ravine, like, okay, we could still have He-Man up there. But that just
I didn't even put that together, but that's good observation.
That's a nice wrinkle that helps there, where he's like, shit, it's the untransformed sword. That means Adam, for whatever reason, Adam hasn't been able to change.
Yep.
So, before Adam has a chance to figure out how he's going to retrieve the sword, Adzar appears in the cave, and Adam runs away, but is spotted again by Webstore, who, I love that crawling of Webstore down the cave creepy, wall, right? To go get him. Yeah. Oh, incredibly creepy. Adam's freaking out. He doesn't even know who this is.
It almost feels like the old like the Ray Harryhausen like stop motion animation, like with the skeletons where they'd be all like jagged and stuff. Like yeah.
Webstore's got this like creepy, like this unhuman movement pattern.
Yeah, almost like the movie The Ring, where like the lady comes out of the TV and is like the bones are moving weird and stuff. Yeah, he's just very creepy looking.
Yep.
He catches Adam as Adam's falling.
Yep, he catches him. He's hauling him up,
and he's like,
he realizes, why bother?
Why bother? He even says that, why bother, and just lets him drop.
Yeah, so he literally bites his webbing to let Adam drop, because he's like, I know Skeletor said we're going to keep them all alive and we're going to execute them one by one and blah, blah, blah. He's like, I want to kill something. Like, why are we still doing this?
Yeah, because underneath is the lava that's flowing from Snake Mountain and stuff. So he's clearly going to die if he drops him. So yeah, so he just drops him and then takes off. You don't need to watch it. You just right? He's going to die.
What could possibly happen? He's falling 200 feet into a lava river. Yeah. What's going to happen? Some freaking green cat's going to jump across and save him? Oh, wait.
Cringer.
As he's falling.
Not Battle Cat. This is scared old Cringer. Comes out, jumps across the thing, across lava, and saves Adam. Cringer is the hero we all deserve.
Absolutely. So, and I love, again, going back, we sat back in our intro to this series, and one of my and then we got into the beginning, and one of my biggest complaints is Cringer not talking, not having as much of a personality. And that's where I can say at this point, I was so caught up in him not talking that in my mind I downplayed how much personality he has in this series.
I do think that had he been able to talk, and had there been a moment there where Adam is able to express pride in Cringer for being brave without the power of being Battle Cat, I think that would have made it a little bit more special, because, as you see, as we kind of move on, they just move on from that. Like, it's never even addressed. Adam doesn't talk about, first of all, he's mostly in and out, kind of unconscious. So he really doesn't have much to say at all. But once he is conscious, it's then just kind of on to the next thing. And there's never this moment where they address the fact that through all of Filmation and most of this series, Cringer is a scaredy cat. Cringer is not Battle Cat. And in this moment, without being Battle Cat, Cringer risks life and limb to save Adam. And it's an important moment that I feel like gets kind of downplayed because he doesn't talk.
Now, don't get me wrong. I will die on the hill that it would still be better with him talking, but it's not as bad as I remember it being.
It's not as bad, but it could have been better. Even with him not talking, if Adam were to address it and just say something in this moment,
if he
would have been great.
If he just put Cringer and then he passed out, good job or something,
Yeah, even a good boy, something.
And I will say, for me, I mean, this episode or this moment has resonated with me since the first time I saw it. You know, right up there with Filmation, House of Shakoti, when Cringer sees Stanley getting taken, and he turns at him and goes, "Adam, in 2 seconds, I'm running back to the palace, so you better pull your sword." Like that's the MYP equivalent to me, is him making that leap, saving Adam, and not only that, so he saves Adam. I love the physics of it. Like it'd be so easy in cartoons to have Cringer run, leap, grab him, or chomp, grab him in his jaw or whatever, but they don't go cartoony. Literally, all Cringer jumps, runs, basically hits Adam in the air, knocking his trajectory.
Yeah,
like and they go
like a shoulder
tumbling.
block.
Yeah, it's like, so it's very realistic. Cat leaping over a lava,
and it's great animation too. Like because it's very fast and blurred, and you almost forget at first that he's not Battle Cat, like that he has been transformed back to Cringer, and then you see it and you're like yes. It's like it's almost like in game when all of a sudden the Thor's hammer ends up in Cap's hand, right? You're like, yes, the moment that I was waiting for. So I just feel like in the episode they kind of downplay it, but for me, I was excited. I was like, this is great. Sure. So
but unfortunately, because of the way Cringer has to save him, they both go tumbling. Adam ends up running into the wall and knocking his head. Adam falls unconscious as Cringer looks concerned. So it's like, yay! It's even like, yay, he saved him. Oh no, he's hurt. Like, we're still down.
Yeah, like, we're still in trouble. He doesn't have the sword.
Right.
They're both untransformed. They're now in this bottom spot of Snake Mountain. The Masters are still locked up. We're in a bad way, folks.
Yes.
It's not good.
Everything keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
Like nothing's going our way. Yep. We cut back to the palace where the evil warriors are still making their fruitless effort to escape. When all of a sudden we see a creature come in.
Yeah, it's got to be one of Beastman's boys.
Yeah,
he called his boys in. So,
but Beastman doesn't know him. It's a little lizard creature.
No. You said in the last episode that they made this one little lizard proof.
Yeah, you would think so. Wouldn't you? You would think like. Yeah. I've come up with every way to stop every warrior that I know of, except for the way that we've already broken out of prison once.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, good job, Man-Arms.
Yeah, he thinks of everything except for lizard proofing it. Can't do that.
The one thing that has happened that we've seen in the series, he doesn't guard against.
Yep. There you go.
The
so it opens up and shadowy figures come out, and sure enough, Cobra Khan, Rattler, and Cobra Khan, dude, he's like, this may be strong defenses for anybody else, but this ain't nothing for me. Yep. And he just like spit, takes out everything. No problem.
Not a problem. He did not think of Snake Men. So.
And Evelyn basically says if they free him, they free the evil warriors, they can name their price.
Dun, dun, dun.
And he says intriguing. Gives a very Spock-like answer. Intriguing.
Yep. So. And we're left. I like that they just leave that. It's like,
that's it.
This very, very well written episode. They don't dwell too long. They kind of leave things open. Back with Adam and Cringer, Adam is struggling to regain consciousness while the sorceress is blowing up his phone.
She is, man.
She's like, dude, get here. We need you.
She basically says, hey, the episode's almost over. I need you to find the sword. That's basically what's going on.
Unfortunately, all Cringer hears is Adam muttering Grayskull in his half-awake consciousness. And that's all the information Cringer has, so he throws Adam on his back and heads to Grayskull.
No sword.
Where I lost my place.
Masters, it cuts them just showing that they're still in the dungeon. Nothing really happening.
Yep.
Skeletor's flying away. They hear a noise, and he said that's what, griffin wings or something.
Griffin wings, yep.
And so they show that Skeletor's flying away, and he's basically going to Snake Mountain. They get there. Skeletor's starting to walk off towards starts to go to Grayskull. Sorry, and Skeletor's walking towards Grayskull, and this is the moment that you wait for when bad guys team up. It's going to be a moment. One of the bad guys is going to turn on him, right?
I will say Marzo gives him a chance. First they're asking him what is up with Grayskull, because they don't know. Again, they're the Skeletor won't answer him.
Yep.
And then
he's been obsessed with Grayskull, and they don't understand why.
Marzo's just looking for a little commitment. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna get rewarded here. Like, we're in this together.
We've given up a lot to help you with this plan. It's at least give us some information.
Right. Give us some information. Let us know, that we're going to be rewarded at the end of this."
And like a very poor manager, Skeletor just leaves them in the dark, which does not create buy-in, folks. If you're trying to work as a manager, you need to let your team members know why what they're doing is important. Yes. So that they have a sense of pride in their work. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't do that here. And I think that's ultimately a problem. So.
Yep. And so Skeletor turns his back on Marzo, won't commit to him actually getting his Christmas bonus.
Yeah, and Marzo turns him into HR. Oh no, he shoots him in the back with a blast from his stone and the Ram Stone. Now this is powerful. We just saw Marzo blast He-Man and knock He-Man on his butt, right?
Yep.
And this is a double stone. He's got his stone and the Ram Stone, double blast right into Skeletor's back. Skeletor's going to be hurting, folks.
No, actually, he knew he was going to do that and put up a force field. The whole cliff around him is blasted away, and Skeletor is floating in midair, glaring. Oh, what a bad Skeletor is.
Mm-hmm. He knew Marzo was going to be pissed. He knew that keeping that information was going to make him blast him. And rather than just give him the information and try to make him feel good and make him feel part of the team, he just let him blast him and then show that, hey, your stuff doesn't really affect me. And then steals both of his stones. Right. Yeah. Not only ddid your blast not hurt me, but now your stones are gone too. I'm taking them.
I love it. And then... Yeah, and he does, and Marzo cowering in fear as Skeletor comes back to him. He's like, and Skeletor just takes the amulet and the Ram Stone. It's like, okay, like Skeletor, he may not be a good manager, but he knows how to put the fear in him. So, then we see Skeletor combine the powers of his Havoc Staff, the Ram Stone, and Marzo's amulet to create a souped-up skeletal ram spirit beast to launch at Grayskull. Skeletor's not playing around. He's like, I remember last time I used this thing on Grayskull. It was effective, but I need it super effective. Sends this thing at the castle. The sorceress is able to call upon the power of the elders just in time to put up the biggest, best, most reinforced force field she absolutely can. And this,
which I'd like to address something real quick, because she was talking to the elders. Like in the past, it's kind of felt like they're long gone, and she's maybe drawing on the power that they've had in the past and that they've imbued in Grayskull. But in this moment, she's actually talking to them as if they still exist or they're still conscious in some way. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know exactly how that works, or, I don't know what is going on there, but there was a conversation. I felt like it was at least important to mention.
Well, because she was asking for their forgiveness, because she's not supposed to. He-Man's allowed to tap into the power of Grayskull. The champion is, but she's not supposed to. So she kind of asked her for. I took it more as like, when you're like, hey, God, help me on this, this meeting will go well. Or, forgive me, I have sinned type of thing. Like, I'm sorry, but I didn't take it as she's actually like communicating with the Eldors, more just like, I hope I can be forgiven. I'm breaking this vow, but I have to.
But in the instance, if you're trying to talk to God, you assume that being, that higher being, is able to listen to you, right?
Yeah. Like their spirits
I kind of assumed that the Eldors were long gone. Like there is nobody to talk to. There's nobody to apologize to or to whatever. So the fact that she's doing that makes me wonder if somehow not only their powers, but if maybe even their consciousness has been collected within Grayskull somehow.
Yeah, more of like a spirit of Grayskull.
Yeah.
Thing. That's what I was meaning. Like, not that they're, I don't feel like they physically entered like the orb or anything, but I think there is a bit of their spirit in there.
I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah. No, it's a great scene, and ultimately, she puts up the best defense that the castle has ever seen, and Ramstone knocks it down, knocks her on her butt. She's falling.
Yeah, and Adam's kind of conscious at this point a little bit, and he had said something to her to the effect of that he'll distract them while she does the rest. So,
well, that's when he gets there.
Yeah. So, as they're getting there, because that's right.
Sorceress gets blasted. We see her spiraling into the abyss in the crystal chamber. And then we're back outside where Skeletor is now he's actually landing because he had launched that attack from like the hilltop.
Yep.
And now him and the Council of Evil are actually making their advance on the castle. The force field's down. Sorceress is spiraling. Adam and Cringer shows up. Adam wakes up just in time.
No sword.
No nothing. He calls out to the sorceress, but unfortunately gets no response. Mm-hmm. So he is on his own completely.
But even if he got a response, his whole plan was, I've got no powers. I'm going to just try to play like a pesky bug and distract them while you use the powers that you have to stop them. But that plan was terrible. But the fact that she's not answering makes the plan way worse,
right?
Because now it's basically Adam and Cringer versus the world. So
and he knows it. He knows like this is it. Tila was taken. The Masters are captured. He's got the Council of Evil. Sorceress isn't responding. I am the most alone I have ever been. Skeletor's cackling.
Oh, Skeletor's making fun of him. Skeletor is like just he's enjoying this. This is his high moment. Yep.
And it's kind of that interesting, we know because we know the secret, but like Skeletor laughing at the fact that it all comes down
to a little boy and his cat. Yeah.
Yeah. When we know the truth about, it's always going to come down to you. Like this is the end game.
Yeah.
But we hear vehicles approaching.
And it's the vehicles from the palace. It's the Masters of the Universe.
The Bashing Beetle, the Sky Sleds, the Wind Raider.
Yep. All and right, Adam has this moment of hope and just, I don't know how they got out. I don't know what happened.
Tila got him free.
But here come the Masters. The day is saved.
As the vehicles come into view and we see them being piloted by the evil warriors. They took Khan's deal. He freed them and they did Grand Theft Auto to get
and Skeletor sees this and he's immediately overjoyed, right? Not overjoyed that yes, my people who've been so loyal to me are free, but that you thought that this was your help, but instead it's my own people.
Right.
And now, as powerful as I thought I was, as much in control as I thought I was, I'm even more in control now. And he is just super confident in how this is going to go down. I think that we may have other thoughts, though. Yeah. So Skeletor just thinks like it's over, man. Like
well, and that's it. It's like it's like Skeletor felt he had the perfect plan and everything's working for him. And then the evil warriors show up at this moment and he's like, oh my God, that makes my plan even better.
Oh yeah.
Like, I wish I think at that moment he's like, I wish I had thought I'd been able to coordinate it. He
thought he had checkmate, and now he thinks he has like checkmate, mate. You know, it's
right,
like it's
he's
so
literally
over.
lighting the board on fire.
Yes,
no one's gonna be able to make a move again. Like this is it. And Adam's shock, from the hope to the despair, Skeletor laughing, and
season's over.
I mean, there was a point as they're getting to Grayskull where I'm like thinking in my head on the first view, and I'm like, how much time could we have left? But like up until that point, I did not think that it was going to end like this.
When Adam gets saved by Cringer and Sorceress is talking to him and basically saying like, hey, like you need to find the sword. I'm looking at the time and going, okay, in my head, I'm going, he's going to find the sword. He's going to stop him as He-Man. He-Man's going to save the day. And the episode's going to end because we don't have much time left. Like there's only enough time for him to get the sword and save the day. That's not how it finishes. They definitely throw me for a surprise here with how they finish this and leave it on a cliffhanger. And I could definitely see why someone would not want to leave it on that, because it is very much like, man, I got to wait another, whatever, a year for this or several months for this. I could see that. But at the same time, it would be so brilliant to leave it like that, because you're going to want to come back and watch it, right? Like and people are going to be talking about it, like what's going to happen. And I haven't seen the next episode yet this time through. Obviously, I saw it through the DVD and I don't remember it. But at this point, I'm going, I think Skeletor's in deep trouble, man. I think you let Evelyn stew in there for a while. She took this deal from the Snake Men. The Snake Men aren't very big fans of Skeletor anyway. I'm thinking, as much as he thinks that this is checkmate, mate, I think Skeletor is in deep doo-doo.
Yeah. And it's funny because watching it again, like by the time the evil, and I know it's not that far, but by the time the evil warriors show back up, like I'm not even thinking about the Snake Men anymore. Yeah. Like, and definitely by the end of The Last Stand, I'm really not thinking about it until, whatever happens. But like, yeah, I'm just, this episode is so action packed. There's not a dull moment. We're running. We're following. And for the Masters to continuously fall back, like they gain no ground in this episode. It goes from bad to worse.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm hooked to and see what happens next season.
We'll see. I just, I feel like as smart as Skeletor is, as powerful as Skeletor is, as much as he can think several steps ahead and put good plans together and this and that, it's his inability to treat people with respect on his own team.
Yeah.
That is his ultimate downfall.
Sure.
And I think that's, we've already seen Marzo get pissed at him, and now he stole his stones, which is, obviously that's a lot of Marzo's power is gone now, but he's pissed, right? Yeah. We know that Evelyn is ticked off. We'll see how this works, but I just feel like had he been a little bit better at treating his people with respect and building teamwork, he wins the day. But I just don't know that it's going to go down that way. So,
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
All right. No curious translations for this episode.
I was curious. I was, I guess not curious. I was, once this finished the way that it did, and I remember that it ended on a cliffhanger, I was surprised that the first episode of the next season isn't part 3, right? Like it feels like this should be a 3-parter.
Yeah.
Not a 2-parter and then a different episode. So that, like, it feels like it should be Council of Evil part 3 or, whatever. But
I think it's just too, because I believe, well, at the second season, we definitely knew we were getting a second season by this point. But I think it's just to kind of like, you don't want to start a season with a part 3. You know what I mean?
I get it, but it really is that, right? Like,
for sure.
You name it that or not,
the story does not end here.
It's just like the first 3 episodes where it's the beginning, part 1, 2, and 3, right? And maybe you would have to, because by the time you get to episode 3, maybe it's not really about the Council of Evil anymore. So maybe you would have to have named it something different, like Skeletor's Plan, or I don't know, something else. But it definitely is a part 3. It definitely is to be continued. So it just feels like, for continuity's sake, that you would want to make it a part 3 of something. But
yeah,
I digress.
It's random side note, just for the there was a recent, I listened to Pod Meets World, which is the Boy Meets World rewatch with a few of their stars, and the season premiere where Corey, after Topanga proposes to Corey, it starts off with a part 1 and a part 2, but oddly enough, they have different names. I can't remember the episode titles off the top of my head, but I think it was like Her Question part 1, and then the second episode is His Answer part 2, or something like that. Gotcha. Where they actually like changed the title, but kept part 1 and part 2.
But you can see that they're like, if you're going to watch them, you probably want to watch those together.
Right. Yeah. So maybe they could have done something like that. I think it's just like, also you don't want to announce that there's a 3-parter and then say, then end the season with parts 1 and part 2.
But you could have, if you didn't release everything for like both seasons, you could just say it's part 1 and part 2, and not know that there's a part 3 until you see the part 2, and you're like, oh man, I got to come back for the next one. But that gets people bought in. They get, and not only that, but it would get people talking, where it's like, oh my God, you should have seen these last 2 episodes. I taped it on VHS or whatever. Like, come over and watch it. And then that way, when the next season comes out, you're ready to watch that last part of it. Right.
Exactly. So do have a couple script alterations
real quick
scenes in a minute, after Curtis has his really quick thought.
Yeah, because I got to throw in, we said that last episode, but also this episode, no moral, because it is still, a to be continued. So no moral.
Oh yeah, there was no more, but there was no next time on either, because they hadn't produced the 3rd episode yet.
Yeah. So no next time, no moral, just ends, and you're left going, what now?
Exactly.
So, yep.
So a couple script alterations that are really interesting. Originally, when Webstor left Prince Adam to fall, Adam landed on the rocky ground, being knocked out in the process. Later, when he comes to, Cringer is just standing beside him.
Yeah, this was way better.
So that whole epic Cringer moment wasn't in the original script.
Yeah, that's crap. This is way better. Whoever changed that, good job.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in the script, when the sorceress is in the crystal chamber defending against the Ramstone, we were to see the Ramstone breaking into the chamber, the sorceress transform into Zor to try and escape, and end up getting knocked out in bird form as she tried to fly away.
I like this way better.
It feels more powerful, like she didn't even have a chance to react.
Well, and I wouldn't like the idea of sorceress trying to escape Grayskull, right? Like, she should go down fighting.
Yeah,
like, she shouldn't go down trying to get away. So yeah, I like this. Both of those, I like the way that it ended up in the episode better.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
all right.
I do want to say, I know this is a longer review than some of them, but this is a packed episode. Like the first episode, there's some fight scenes that take up a lot of time without a lot of dialogue, so there's not a lot to discuss. This one had a lot to unpack, so appreciate everybody that stuck with us through this. But it's a big episode. So
100%. So on that note, it's time to rate this jam-packed episode. Quick reminder, we've got our Power Sword ranking system. So 3 Power Swords is the best of the best episodes. 2 Power Swords is an above average. 1 Power Sword is a good, enjoyable episode. We got the Cosmic Enforcer. That's neither good nor bad, right down the middle. Then we got the Havoc Staffs. 1 Havoc Staff is bad. 2 Havoc Staffs is worse. If you got 3 Havoc Staffs, that episode should be banished to Despondos, never to be seen by anyone again. Curtis, how many Havoc Staffs are you giving this clunker?
This is 3 Power Swords, and it's not even close. Like, to me, this is the best episode of the series up to this point. I do have a problem with the whole Skeletor saying that he's going to kill them and not killing them and just waiting. I do have a problem with the sword just happened to land in the view of Man-at-Arms. Like, there's some stuff that just feels like the sword thing feels like lazy writing. The Skeletor thing feels like a half measure. But there's so much good in this. The whole Cringer thing is amazing. It's a great moment for him. The fact that Skeletor continues to be above everybody, steps ahead, including Marzo. It's just an amazing episode. Like, it's just really well done. And the fact that they've now set it up for the next episode where you've got the evil warriors coming in, and it's that question of, okay, do they fall back in line and help Skeletor, or are they pissed and going to attack him, or are they not either, and they're just doing whatever the Snake Men told them to do because they've made this deal with them. Maybe it's not based on loyalty to Skeletor or being upset at Skeletor. Maybe it's just sheerly out of these guys rescued us and we said we would do what they said. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to see what the next episode brings, but I feel like by far this is my favorite episode of the series so far.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's a 3 Power Swords, and it's only a 3 Power Sword because I can't give 4. Like,
the only thing I don't like when you go off and you say like the rankings, you're like 3, like you say something like it couldn't be better, and I do feel like it could be better, but I still feel like it's the best we've gotten. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's some stuff on the table, but it is the best.
Yeah, the stakes feel real, the threats feel real, and just seeing the Masters behind the 8 ball is enjoyable. Like I like that these villains are actually threats. I like that they're actually succeeding, because otherwise it gets pointless.
Yeah. And I love the fact that it didn't end with He-Man or with Adam finding the sword, turning into He-Man and saving the day. The fact that it ends on this like Empire Strikes Back kind of what do we do from here note is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it sets you up for the next season. It makes you want to tune in. You get to see, like we said, kind of the bookends of all this growth through the first season. And ultimately the Masters falling short. And what that does is we'll see in the next season, it still sets them up with room to grow. Like there's still improvements to be made as warriors, as people. And I've really been enjoying the character flaws, the storylines, the progressions. And this is the culmination of all that. And it's a really enjoyable episode all on its own as well. It flies by, you're invested. It's got great character moments. I could watch this episode again and again.
And I feel like they've done a really good job throughout the series, but especially this episode, of teaching you something. Like if you're a kid watching this, you're learning the moral lessons without having a moral lesson, right? Like you don't need that little final message that may or may not relate to the episode. That we've gotten some that are like, what, that has nothing to do with what we've been talking about. But I think as you go through this and you see like the overconfidence of Man-at-Arms, you see him not learning from his mistakes by putting in some sort of defenses for the lizard. You see, Skeletor hashing these plans, but not, considering the people that are closest to him and taking care of them. And he basically just uses folks. You're looking at this. If I'm a kid watching this and I go, these are things that I don't want to do. These are things that I want to make sure that I'm better than that. And so I feel like they do a good job of just teaching kids, as you're watching this, how you want to grow up to be as an adult, right? And what things to avoid. So just, and to me, that's been the heart of He-Man throughout from Filmation all the way through, is like, how do you be a better person? How do you be the best version of yourself? And I think they're doing a great job of that while telling an amazing story.
100% agree. No, heck of a ride. We made it through the first season. Hopefully we can get Sean on here to do his patented little look back on the last half of the season, get his Power Sword rankings. Hopefully we'll be able to make that happen for you guys, and that'll come up next. And then on to season 2.
So do a review of season 1, back half of season 1.
Yep.
Maybe a toy episode or something, and then go.
Yeah, I think we got some toys to catch up on. There's a couple other little. We are planning to take a little break here on the episodes, just to give you guys the same feeling as I felt back in 2003. Give you a little time to think, speculate, and
I'd like to do a Staction episode too. Like, just look at the Stactions.
Well, yeah, that'll come. We're going in order with the toys.
Yeah. So. I'm just excited because I like the Stactions a lot. We'll get into that, but that's, if there's one thing from 2000X that I could have in my collection, I would love to have a set of Stactions. Yeah. Oh gosh. But anyway, I digress.
Don't forget Mondo. They're coming out.
Yeah.
There.
We'll see the price.
Yeah. Hoping for a web store in all his MYP glory. Oh.
Yep.
All right, guys. Until next time, you can go watch Last Stand if you want, or if you want to wait and watch it in a little bit when we do, that's up to you. But we'll definitely be back with more content. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, share us with a friend who likes 2000X. And until...
Also, folks, I just want everybody that's watching this to know the only reason I don't kill you right now is because I want to see your reaction when you watch all the rest of the reviews for season 2. So
there we go. So until next time, be thankful Curtis didn't kill you.
Oh, come on.